When most people hear the name The Wicker Man, they usually think of the crappy Nicolas Cage remake where he gets forcibly stung by bees and burned alive in a massive effigy of a wooden man. However, most people don't know that it's actually based off a 1973 film by the same name, which in turn was based on the book Ritual by David Pinner. The Wicker Man, 1973, flopped upon its original premiere, bankrupting the director and his entire family. Yet, over the years, it's gained a cult following and has gone on to be one of the most pivotal pieces of the horror genre, serving as the inspiration for so many modern films, most notably being Ari Aster's Midsommar and essentially creating the folk horror genre. Directed by Robin Hardy and starring Christopher Lee as the film's main antagonist, the plot follows a Scottish police officer who comes to a small island to investigate the disappearance of a young girl. When he arrives on the island, his attempts to solve the mystery are thwarted at every turn, and he's led to believe that she's to be sacrificed by the cult that runs the island. This results in a shocking twist and a finale as the police sergeant is tricked and sacrificed by being burned alive in a giant wooden effigy, which is the titular Wicker Man. At heart, it's a film about the struggle for control between the old gods and the new, represented by Christopher Lee's Lord Summerisle and Edward Woodward's Sergeant Howie. As a horror film, it's really not all that horrifying. That doesn't diminish its status as an excellent film, though. It's really more of a tense occult mystery with slow reveals and shocking imagery. The horror comes in at the end, though, in what's one of the most effective scenes in all of cinematic history. That is, the burning scene. By the end, you're left stunned as the Wicker Man topples to reveal a red setting sun over a shimmering sea. The moment the credits begin and the horns begin to swell, you swear you're hearing the trumpets of Judgment Day, culminating in a chilling effect that stays with you for hours after the screen fades to black. Speaking of the music, the film uses a lot of folk music. They're deeply beautiful and sweet folk ballads that serve as a stark tool of juxtaposition to the film's intensely dark subject matter. Each song is so good that they'll stick with you for months. When I first watched this film, I listened to the soundtrack for months on end, and I'm still not tired of it. Some of the instrumental background music, however, I could have gone without. In the scene where Sergeant Howie attempts to rescue the girl, the music seems more suitable to a 70s cop show than an intense life or death chase scene, and as a result, it feels kinda goofy. The performances are excellent through and through. Every actor is believable as their character. Edward Woodward exudes authority and entitlement to Sergeant Howie in what's his most noteworthy performance of his career, while Sir Christopher Lee soars above and beyond in what's one of his most underrated roles here. He's so ridiculously charming that you can hardly blame the people of Summerisle for believing his every word. In fact, he claimed that it was his favorite movie that he ever worked on. And it's not only the leads that are great here, but the background extras and minor character actors are brilliant here as well. Their performances are incredibly nuanced, as upon rewatching the film, you notice little details and hints they drop towards the inevitable blood sacrifice.
These Harvest Festival photographs.
Aye, we have one taken at the end of every summer.
Until last year's.
It got broad.
Broad beans in their natural state aren't usually turquoise, are they?
Some things in their natural state have the most vivid colors.
There are multiple versions of the film. The theatrical cut from 1973, a 99-minute extended cut with the events of the film in chronological order, a director's cut, and a cut deemed the final cut released in 2013. And this final cut isn't even the complete cut, as there's an even longer 102-minute cut. I've seen the final cut twice, but was forced to watch the theatrical cut as it was the only one I could watch digitally for this review. I'm going to be forthwith. If you're going to watch this film for the first time, don't watch the theatrical cut, as it's probably the farthest from director Robin Hardy's original vision. Multiple scenes have been cut and reorganized with the distributors, which results in the theatrical cut feeling somewhat choppy and poorly paced. Most egregious of all, however, one of the best songs was cut in its entirety, which went along with one of Christopher Lee's monologues, which should be a crime, honestly. These changes make us lose important pieces of context, so in my opinion, it's best to just avoid this version altogether. Instead, I'd recommend the 2013 extended cut. Unfortunately, though, it's unavailable to stream in the United States, and the only way you can watch it is if you either have a hard copy or possibly a VPN. If you don't have either of these and live in the United States, you're probably out of luck, which explains why when I talk to most people about the film, they tell me they didn't like it, and that's probably because they've only seen the theatrical cut. Since I first saw it, The Wicker Man has stuck with me. It's one of my top favorite films of all time. It's a brilliantly well-made and deeply effective piece of cinema. If you have a Blu-ray player, go pick up a copy, whether that would be off Amazon or do what I did, and look for it at your local library. Either way,
It is time to keep your appointment with the Wicker Man.